Have you ever noticed the people who never post their pictures online? No selfies, no celebrations, no updates. In a world where attention equals value, they almost seem invisible. But what if I told you they might be the most confident people in the room? Psychology suggests this behavior isn't random. It reveals something deeper, something most people completely miss. And once you understand it, you'll never look at silence the same way again. Think about this for a moment. You're scrolling through social media, seeing people constantly sharing their lives, smiling faces, perfect moments, achievements, vacations. It feels like everyone is trying to be seen. But then, there's that one person. They don't post, no selfies, no updates, no look at me moments. At first, it feels strange. You might even assume they're shy, insecure, or disconnected. But here's where it gets interesting. Psychology tells a completely different story, because sometimes the people who say the least understand themselves the most. Sometimes silence isn't absence, it's control. In this video, we're going to break down the real psychology behind people who don't post their photos online. And by the end, you might realize something surprising. Maybe the people chasing attention aren't the most confident ones after all. Number 1, they choose privacy over validation. People who don't post their photos often have one powerful trait. They value privacy more than validation. Psychologically, this is linked to something called internal validation. Instead of relying on likes, comments, or reactions, they generate their sense of worth from within. Most people today are caught in a loop. They post, they wait, they check again and again. Their mood rises and falls based on how others respond. But not these individuals. They understand something important. Once you make your life public, you give others permission to judge it, so they choose control. For example, imagine two people achieving the same success. One immediately posts it online, the other keeps it to themselves or shares it only with close people. The difference? One seeks recognition, the other values meaning. And that's the shift, because when you stop needing approval, you start living more freely, and real confidence begins the moment you no longer need to prove it. Number 2, they have strong self-identity. People who share less online often know exactly who they are. This is backed by psychology through a concept called self-concept clarity. It means having a clear and stable understanding of your own identity. When someone lacks this clarity, they tend to look outward for direction. They follow trends, mimic behaviors, and constantly compare themselves to others. But those who don't post much, they don't need that external mirror. They already know their values, their priorities, and their direction in life. For example, while others might post to stay relevant or feel included, these individuals don't feel that pressure. They don't need to broadcast their identity because they already feel it internally. This makes them less reactive and more grounded. They don't chase trends. They don't chase attention. They don't chase approval. They simply exist as they are. And when you truly know yourself, the need to explain yourself disappears. Here is something most people don't realize. Number 3, they are emotionally secure. Not posting photos is often a sign of emotional stability. Psychologists link this behavior to secure self-esteem. This is a form of confidence that doesn't depend on external reinforcement. Most people experience what's called fragile self-esteem. It needs constant validation to survive. Without attention, it starts to weaken. But emotionally secure individuals are different. They don't need to remind the world they matter. They already feel it. For example, for Someone with fragile self-esteem might post frequently to feel seen or valued, but someone emotionally secure doesn't feel that urgency. They're okay being unseen because their sense of worth doesn't disappear in silence. This also makes them less anxious, less reactive, less dependent on others' opinions. They focus more on real-life growth rather than digital presence. Because when your confidence is real, it doesn't need an audience. Number 4, they are deep thinkers, not performers. People who don't post much are often more introspective. Instead of reacting instantly, they reflect. Instead of sharing everything, they filter. This connects to a psychological trait called internal locus of evaluation. It means they judge their actions based on their own standards, not society's expectations. In contrast, many people today operate on an external locus. They act based on how others might perceive them. That's why they post moments, not because they matter, but because they look good. But deep thinkers don't operate that way. For example, they might experience something meaningful, but instead of capturing it for others, they fully live it for themselves. They prioritize depth over display, meaning over attention, authenticity over performance. Because not everything meaningful needs to be visible, but the truth goes even deeper. Number 5, they understand the illusion of social media. People who avoid posting often see through the illusion. They understand that social media is not reality. It's a curated highlight reel. Psychology explains this through social comparison theory. Humans naturally compare themselves to others. And when we constantly see filtered, perfect moments, it distorts our perception of reality. These individuals recognize that trap. They know that what people post is often incomplete, edited, and sometimes even misleading. So instead of participating in that cycle, they step back from it. For example, while others might feel pressured to show a perfect life, these individuals refuse to play that game. They choose mental clarity over digital validation. They choose peace over performance, because once you see the illusion, you stop chasing it. Number 6, they value real connections over digital attention. People who don't post their photos often invest more in real relationships. They prefer depth over visibility. Instead of sharing moments with hundreds of people online, they share them with a few people who truly matter. Psychologically, this reflects a shift from broadcast communication to meaningful connection. For example, instead of posting a celebration, they might call a close friend. Instead of uploading memories, they create them privately. This makes their relationships stronger and more genuine, because attention is not the same as connection, and they understand that. They don't measure relationships in likes or comments. They measure them in trust, time, and presence. Because the strongest bonds are built offline, not displayed online. This is where things get interesting. Number 7, they are less affected by social pressure. When you stop posting, you also step away from comparison, and that changes everything. People who don't share their lives online are less exposed to constant feedback and judgment. This reduces anxiety, insecurity, and the need to compete. Psychologically, they are less influenced by social proof, the tendency to follow what others are doing. For example, when everyone is posting achievements, it creates pressure to do the same. But those who don't participate feel that pressure less. They move at their own pace. They define success in their own way. They don't rush to keep up. And because of that, they often feel more at peace. Because when you stop comparing, you start living. Number 8, they are quietly confident. perhaps the most powerful trait of all, they are quietly confident, not loud, not attention-seeking, not performative, just secure. Their confidence doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being aligned with themselves. They don't need to prove their happiness. They don't need to display their success. They don't need to convince anyone of their worth. For example, while others might constantly update their lives to stay relevant, these individuals don't feel that need. They are okay being unnoticed because they know visibility is not value, and that's rare because the strongest confidence is the one that doesn't ask to be noticed. At a deeper level, this behavior reveals something fundamental about human nature. We all want to be seen, but there are two ways to achieve that. One is external, through attention, validation, and recognition. The other is internal, through self-awareness, acceptance, and clarity. Most people choose the first path because it's easier, because it's visible, because it's addictive. But the second path is quieter and much harder because it requires you to face yourself without distractions. People who don't post their photos often walk this second path, and that's why they seem different. Now ask yourself something honestly. If there were no likes, no comments, no audience, would you still share the same things? Or would your behavior change? Because that answer reveals something important. It shows whether you're living your life or performing it. There's nothing wrong with sharing, but there's something powerful about not needing to. Because at the end of the day, the most meaningful moments of your life are often the ones no one else sees. So next time you notice someone who doesn't post their photos, don't assume they're shy. Don't assume they're invisible. Look closer. They might just be more aware, more grounded, more in control. Because in a world that constantly demands attention, choosing silence is a different kind of strength. They don't need to be seen to feel seen. And that is what real confidence looks like.